Content governance. What is content governance? Well, it's the day-to-day detailed management of content delivery and style. The tools involved in content governance can and may include content workflows, editorial guidelines, style guidelines, editorial management, web content committees, publishing calendars, and so on and so forth. So, how do we achieve content governance success for your college system? Well, the content governance comes with 3 lifestyle stages: the request stage, the create stage, and the management and retire stage, which all come into play with content governance. The request stage or request phase has 4 elements, and the first element is ownership. Without ownership information, it would not be possible to track and manage any of the content and take advantage of the many features of enterprise content management technology. Well, how does this stage or element impact us? Ownership will maximize end user experience as content will be faster to locate and more relevant to the users by virtue of working through a smaller collection. Which then brings us on to the next phase, or the next element, which is business purpose. And with business purpose, we will weed out requests that have TP justification, as users will most likely not spend the effort to request resources they do not need. This in the long run will minimize the amount of user-generated content that is of low value to your organization. This next element, the prerequisite education resources needed, and in this stage, it acts as a formal commitment to ensuring that resources are able to execute on the vision for the project by properly staffing in both skill and duration, which then leads us to our final and last element of the request phase, the success criteria. And in this phase, or element, it determines if the project and its content should continue to exist past its useful lifespan, which ensures user access to relevant materials for the job. Now, once the content requester has addressed the items outlined in the request phase, it is time to step up and begin the production of content. And here is the create phase. And the create phase is separated into 2 subdivisions that ensure that your content is assigned appropriate workflow and security information while enhancing the user experience. The first process is determine access, which even if content is not something that needs restriction, it still behooves you to apply access rights so the content ends up being visible only to users that it relates to. And this allows users to find information with less effort, as they will only be privy to what they need for their work while taking advantage of advanced search features. And the next element after the determine access is to assign workflow. And in this element, assign workflow, it pretty much states that any content that needs additional attention before it's released is addressed. Now, after the fun part of creating the content, we move on to the managing phase, which focuses on updating the content and the metadata associated with it. Without the managing stage, it would be impossible to update content to reflect the ownership changes, and this in effect does not allow for meaningful growth. By retiring or deciding which content is archived and removed, we allow for a better user experience. Think of the manage phase as which stays, which goes, content trash can. And it finally brings us to content governance. And we want to know, how does content governance benefit you and the college system? Well, it improves the user experience and the productivity in their search for information. And that's what all content should be doing.